Hey y'all, Pink Lady here. Welcome back to another episode of Bet on Yourself, Sis. I'm your host, Jasmine Gary, aka Pink Lady, and I'm very excited for this episode. This episode, I am speaking with Erin Pompa, who is a speaker and educator, and she has dedicated over 20 years of her life to education. So, Erin is all about empowering both students and educators to shift negative thoughts, build resilience, and strengthen mental well being. And in this episode, we dive all into that. We talk about resilience and connection. We talk about evolution in entrepreneurship, finding purpose, navigating integrity and authenticity. We talk about the importance of emotional intelligence. We talk about exploring curiosity and personal growth, redefining success and personal values, and sitting in discomfort and making pivots. So if you've ever heard me say lean into the curiosity, lean into things you're curious about, I got that from Erin. Erin is one of my favorite people and she always inspires me. So I hope she does that for you too. Bet on yourself, sis. Bet on yourself, sis. You've got the goal, confidence and style. Let your power show. EP, Erin Pompa. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you here today. Erin, you may not know this, but you had such a strong pull, an effect on me starting my entrepreneurship journey. You kind of like just brought me into this podcasting world, and you took me under your wing, but you also kind of like tossed me in the deep end. We're like, yes, we're gonna learn these things together, but you're gonna learn all these things so that you know how to do them. And I really appreciate that. Like, I learned so much working with you, about business and also about myself, about like personal growth, and we're going to talk all about that, so don't worry. But I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm so excited for you to be here on my podcast, because my journey really started on your podcast, which we don't have anymore, but Dance Boss Podcast was definitely an iconic podcast to look back to. So please, Erin, tell the people who you are and what you do.
Well, first of all, Jasmine, I am so honored to be here. I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Thank
proud of
you.
you. Um, I don't think there's any coincidences. I followed the nudge from God. I'm a woman of faith. And I think that it was supposed to be a part of your journey. And I am so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for meeting you. I'm so grateful for all of our history together.
Yeah.
So you knew me in many iterations, Erin Pride, Erin Pompa.
Yes.
I'm glad I can still keep the EP. What do I do? I'm a youth speaker. I have a youth speaking company, True Speaks 365, and we go around the country. I specifically go around the country. My other speaker stays local, and we talk to high school kids and middle school kids about resilience. That's what
Mm.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk about why talking to these kids about resilience is so important and why it's so meaningful to you.
I didn't want to be a teacher. Number one, I was a teacher for 15 years. So why is it meaning? It's a sign to me. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's a sign to me. I did not choose this. I have tried to go in a lot of different directions, but I keep being pulled back to our youth. And I have a story, and I felt called to share that story. And I'm someone who knows my gifts, and I also know my weaknesses. I know my gifts for connecting with youth. It always has been. I've always been able to. I don't know how to put it into a formula or anything. I just know that it's something that I'm meant to use in this world. And it fills me up when I'm able to walk in a room and they're leaning in and I'm connecting with them. It's so beautiful. And why do I talk about resilience? Because it's a part of my story about what I've gone through. Students need it. We all need it. We all need to strengthen resilience, and people need real conversations. I think why I like doing what I do so much is because it's like people say I'm frank and have real. I don't like fake conversations that are fluffy
Mm-hmm.
and that are surface. Like if I'm going into school, we're gonna talk and we're gonna be real and really gonna talk. And I think students need that
Yeah, and I think they really appreciate that and look forward to it, because they don't get that from adults in their lives every day, right? Like a lot of the times, I remember you were my high school dance teacher, and that's how we met, right? I
Yes.
did all of your shows. I
I
did,
was not having a show unless Jasmine was a
okay.
stage manager. It was not happening.
Okay, because we automatically from the jump had a great relationship. You are so right. You just knew how to connect to, and I think it's not just me that feels this way, right? There are a lot of your students who absolutely feel this way, who are like, yeah, I could talk to Erin, and it just was hard to talk to any of these other teachers out here, but
Yeah.
it was easy to talk to Erin, and I think you could like bring yourself down to our level and talk to us and not talk at us, right? And
Yes.
you really wanted to understand. Like, I think a lot of teachers or a lot of adults in general, when it comes to working with students, like, you want them to do what you want them to do. And Erin, you were just like, okay, how can we all do what you guys wanted to do? How can we bring that to the curriculum? How can we do more of that? Right.
Right.
So that's just a superpower that you have. Like, I
Thank
don't know
you.
really how to talk about it, but yeah,
Me either. I'm
absolutely.
grateful for it. And I think a lot of it has to do when I started teaching, I was young. I was just adding up. I was like 23 years old. So I really didn't like, I didn't think I was that much older than most of you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you didn't have this air about you that like, like I'm the teacher, you're the student. A lot
Well, let
of
Juwan tell it. Juwan will tell you I was stank. I had an attitude. I did. Well, I did have an attitude because I didn't play. Like, this is what I want. This is what we're gonna do. Like, do it.
strict, very
And
strict.
I very respect my personality. Like when I go into these assemblies with kids, like they do not like me. They're like, "Oh, who is this lady?" And I give it to them. I'm like, whatever, and they love it. And I'm like, okay, we're good. We're
Yep.
good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So let's take it a few steps back, way
yeah.
back. Actually, we want to go all the way back to the beginning to how your entrepreneurship journey even began, because this is not what you started out doing at all.
No,
This is
no.
pretty far from it. So, talk about how your entrepreneurship journey began and the pivots you made along the way to get here.
So I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. We're going back. We're going way back, like maybe 10 years ago. It wasn't what it is today. Like everybody is an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form. And everybody needs to be, whether you work for someone or not. So it was like year 10 of teaching. I'll never forget. My students came out of the dressing room and they changed. And I looked at them and I didn't want to be there anymore. And this broke my heart because I love teaching. I love my students. And it was hard because I didn't know who else I was besides dance. I went undergrad dance. I danced professionally. I got my master's in dance. Like all I knew was dance, and I felt very full and proud of what I built as an educator. So when that question came up, I didn't know what to do. So then I went. I actually went. I went to one master's program. I dropped out. Like this is my story because I thought I was supposed to be a principal, and I was sitting in a class, and the person was like, "If you're here, you know you want to be a principal." I was like, "Oh, this ain't for me." And then I went to another master's that I dropped out of, where I thought I was going to get my MFA because I thought, okay, the next thing is to get your MFA so you could teach on a college level. I dropped out. I didn't like it. I did finish my master's from NYU in dance education, which I'm proud of, but I just share that to say, like, I was trying to figure it out. I thought education in school was the way, but it those things didn't fill me and I dropped out of them. I'm saying that to give yourself permission to leave things that you know are not right for you. So, one thing that happened, again, no coincidences, I went to Hollins for that one of the masters I dropped out of. There was a girl that went there. She was on Facebook and she said, "Oh, I'm being interviewed on the dance podcast." And I'm like, "What is a podcast?" A podcast where people talk about dance. I listened to the episode, no mistakes, and I was like, I can do this. And then I started the Dance Boss podcast. I didn't know how to start it. I didn't know what I was doing. I just went on Google. Like I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna learn how to get started. And then from there, I was like, okay, well, let me use my skills of dance education and being able to understand curriculum to share with other dance educators. So I started to do that. And then all of a sudden, things took off, but it never really built a lot of momentum, and I was working really hard and things came into play. Like I wasn't in integrity all the time at my job. Like sometimes I would have my students run the class so that I could actually do work. those are things I'm not proud of, but those are things that I could forgive myself for because I live a different life today. And I want to share about it honestly, because if I did it, I'm not the only one who has done it or thinking about doing it. I felt bad. I knew it was wrong, but I also had this desire to work on what I wanted to. And it was hard in my relationship to go home after work and then work all night. So I was like trying to steal time from anywhere. And then that's where Jasmine came in the picture. I think we had a conversation. We had a conversation about your future and your life. And you asked me, and I'm like, me, I don't know shit. Like, I'm like, I don't know. But I was like, but then I was like, wait. And again, a divine intervention, like ask Jasmine to do your podcast. I mean, all I needed to know, listen, anybody could work for me as long as I trust you. I trust Jasmine. Like, I know that she's going to care about the thing that I do as much as I do and make sure it goes out with like the amount of love and effort that I believe. And I know that because I worked with her all in high school. And something else about me, I really love building things where students and people I see potential in can like get experience. I've done it my whole teaching career. So that's where Dance Boss started to like get better and grow. And then I elevated into like a coaching program, a high ticket coaching program where I was charging like, I think it was 5,000 or 10,000, something crazy I was charging. And I didn't feel an integrity. And I remember my husband and I got married and it was our honeymoon. And I'm like, babe, there's this like, I think it was like a $15,000 coaching program I wanted. And I'm like, he's like, all right, but you're going to have to pay this part back and we're going to use this. And I'm like, okay. And it was then that coaching program that I realized I didn't want to do it. I paid $15,000 to realize that I want to do it. And what was weird about that too is like, I think that I was okay at what I did. It wasn't where God needed me. It wasn't my vocation. Coaching these other dancers on how to bring their business online basically during the pandemic. And I felt like the coaching program I was a part of, I was just taking the information and repurposing it through a dance lens. And it didn't feel an integrity. I didn't get lit up about it. I didn't like it at all, not one bit. And then there came a time where, you know what else I didn't like? I did not like selling on social media. I hated it. I hated selling on social media. I don't like it. I
I hate
don't.
it.
And I hate it. Because then it becomes your whole idea. I don't know. It just is all, it's just like, it does not, some people do it really well. Some people love it. I just don't like it, but I was forcing myself to like it. And I only thought that was the only way to make money and have a business. And like people in this coaching program were soaring. Like people were making like hundreds of thousands of dollars and I wasn't. And I'm just like, and I was beating myself up. And then all of a sudden I had conversations with my husband talking about being out of integrity. And I love the conversations I have with him. And he's like, yeah, you are probably like, this is not your, he's like, this is not your thing. And then remember Jasmine, I closed it.
Yep.
And that was hard because I had Jasmine, I had Emily, I had some other people, but Emily was my VA and Jasmine was my podcast producer. And we had this really beautifully well-oiled machine, but it wasn't growing at the rate in which I wanted to. And I didn't like the work. So I closed it and that was hard. And I forgot to mention, I was able to leave teaching because of this. But let me caveat, because people go on the internet be like, I was able to leave my job. No, I have a husband. I have a whole husband who had a whole conversation with me and who is a whole backup plan when bills can't be paid. Okay. So I just want to say that I made enough money to leave and to support the things that I'm responsible for. But if he wasn't in the picture, that wouldn't have been a decision I could make. My husband and me really build a life together where we support each other's dreams, and it looks different from each of our ends, and I'm really grateful. So I left my job, and then I left my job. He gave me a cushion window, I think. He's like, or no, I was making enough. I was making enough to sustain what I was responsible for. And then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, what? Wait.
He's like, Erin, you're doing too much. Okay.
But then, Jasmine, it's like, adulting is hard. It's like I leave Lottie dying, and then all of a sudden health insurance is like Cobra, and you got to pay so much. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, there were times where he had to cover me, whatever. So I left. I went back to subbing. I hated it. So I share this to say it's like in moments of transition, it's nasty and uncomfortable. Don't only look at, like, I know everybody says don't only look at where the person is now, but like there was a moment of transition. I was subbing. I was miserable. My ego was bruised. I have a master's degree. I was a teacher for 15 years. Like, and now I'm here. So my husband was like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a public speaker. I had no idea how to do it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I sat in discomfort for months. I did not know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want dance boss. I knew it in my soul. I knew I was out of integrity. So then I was like, I want to be a public speaker. And then, I Googled and I found the Speaker Lab podcast and I got to work and I did a lot of things without paying anybody for anything. I used Trello. I built out a board. Yeah, I think investing in somebody and things is very important as you grow in a business. But I hope that this is a testament to know that if you want something bad enough and you're willing to do it, you can do it without having to invest in coaching. You just got to be diligent and really do it. Because I have people all the time who tell me, Erin, I want to be a speaker. And it got to the point where I have an email template and the email template sends them the podcast episodes, the book, boom. I say, after you build this out, you know how many people don't reach out because people don't want to do the work.
Yep.
And that's the thing that it is. And I'm grateful that I did this work. So I do the work. And then it was really hard because I have some stuff in my life that I don't speak about publicly that has happened, but I speak about when I'm a speaker. And that's the agreement my husband and I made, because it took me a long time, or it was difficult to find what I was going to specialize in. And at first I thought I was going to speak to women, but God kept calling me back to youth. And then I realized that I had a story. And it was hard because my husband is very private and I'm not very private. And we had to decide how I was going to share those parts of myself without sharing it publicly to the world. So what that means for our boundaries is that when I'm on stage, I share about the things that we keep close to our chest. And when I'm on calls with booking people, I explain to them what I share about. But on social media, any other podcast, no, I'm not sharing any of that. And I'm really glad that he held that boundary. So I share that to say that you could build a business with boundaries around it. You just got to take the time to understand what those boundaries are. And with your partner, I never grew something before thinking about somebody else's needs and what they felt safe with or not safe with. And then I took a job at a nonprofit. I thought that's what I wanted. I take a lot of jobs. I'd be taking jobs. And I hated it. And then I realized I hated working for people. And I had started to make I got a really big contract from Patterson. So I used to be a teacher in Patterson. And somebody in Patterson saw me speak somewhere. And they gave me a district-wide contract. That changed the trajectory of my life because I left that nonprofit and I got to go all in on this company. And to feed you up to date now, I travel around the country and a lot of places I go to are predominantly white. And when I see all black people, I'm like, yes. Like, I'm very surprised. I'm like, hey, you hired me? There's always white people. And nothing wrong with my husband's white, but I'm just saying, I don't see a lot of black people. So I go to this place, and I forget, it might have been Illinois, and there were a handful of black kids in the audience, and I do my keynote, and I do a little anonymous question and answer, and I got 2 notes back from girls, and one girl said something, I'm going to paraphrase, thank you for letting me see you on stage, myself on stage, and the other girl was like, thank you for speaking out for us. So then I realized that I needed to start a company that elevates Black and brown voices. Again, not something on my radar, and that elevates women, but also will bring men, Black and brown voices. And I also am 44 and I don't want to be traveling around the world all the time, country all the time. I appreciate it, but it's a lot. I like being home. So how can I build something that builds momentum and financially supports us, but still I don't have to be the one out all the time. And that's where I'm at today.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so much, but I really want to talk about a lot of different things. First of all, where did this public speaking idea come from? Or from your point of view, because it seems like it was just okay, Erin, this is what I've been trying to tell you, this is what you meant to do, right? And it just kind of plopped in your lap. But I know that's not actually how it happened. So where did it come from? And where did the immediate, okay, public speaking, where was the first place you go? I know you're like a research crazy, right? You do very intensive research. So where did from idea to research to, okay, this is what we're going to do. What did that look like?
This is such an in-depth good question. It's making me reflect. So it did feel like it popped out of the air. When people say with the discomfort, I was talking to God, praying, what's going on? I was in discomfort and silence. And then, I don't know, it just popped into my mind. And it was more of a question, I think I could public speak. But you want to know something
Mm.
crazy, Jasmine? Now that I'm doing it, it's like it was always there.
Mhm.
Like my mom told me that when I was a kid, they used to write down all the words I used to say because at such a young age I was talking. And then my sister sent me something where it was like 6 years ago. I was on stage and I was like, oh, my first public speaking debut.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
I don't, I think it was just there, but
Yeah.
everything else I did nurtured it. So I know in my soul that I was meant to be an educator. I know that. But the interesting thing is, like, I felt like I was a decent dancer. I never felt like I was like a Zach. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
he's phenomenal. Zach is somebody we know who's just a beautiful, or Andre. Like, I was never like a Jennifer. I was never them, but I could teach them, you know? I feel like I'm that in public speaking. Like,
Mm.
I feel like I have found my true gift. So I know that kind of answers it, but it was really just sitting in that discomfort. And I really thought about what I liked about Dance Floss. I liked talking.
Mhm.
I liked when people had me on episodes and stuff. And then what happened when I had that idea? There was no chat GPT, by the way, so it was not like that.
Yeah.
I literally went on Google and I just said how to become a public speaker. And then, you know, one thing led to another thing. I just got really curious, investigated. And this is the thing, like, there were a lot of resources. Like, I remember this moment. There were two different books, right? Which I audio listened to. I'm not reading it, but two different ways. One book didn't feel like it sat right. The other one was like, oh, this feels good to me. So why do I share that? Because there's going to be a lot of different perspectives on how to do one thing, but you
Mhm.
got to sit with the one that feels good. So I just followed the rabbit hole and they gave me everything I needed. And that was it.
I love how you talk about like sitting in the discomfort and like allowing your feelings, right? How you feel about things to kind of lead you and kind of like help you make decisions. Because I think a lot of the time we hear that that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be logical. We're supposed to like shut down our feelings, right? Because that's not how, we our feelings could change from day to day, from moment to moment, right? So we shouldn't be listening to those feelings. But I'm absolutely like, I'm a student of yours, right? So I absolutely believe that, like, no, how I feel about something is the data that I need, right? So you can talk more about like how you do that or why you do that.
Yeah,
What got you into doing that?
I just think my spiritual journey, like I came from very dark places in my life where I didn't like who I was or the way that I was living. And I went on a spiritual journey that brought me closer to my higher power and a connection
Mm.
with my higher power. So I truly try to get divine guidance. And it doesn't look like God saying, Erin, do this. That's not what it looks like for me.
Right.
It's just a feeling, or it might be a book I read or something that I see. I guess I try to make myself more awake to the messages that are already there. And I
Mm.
do that through meditation, reading spiritual books. Like, I want to be more awake. And sitting in the discomfort is not easy. It's something that you learn how to do. I learned how to do it from that. I learned how to do it from talking to other people that I really admire, that feel emotionally intelligent and spiritually intelligent. I'm not talking about like the person that's on a level below you, not to judge people or where you're at. I'm talking about those people who, you value their point of view,
Mhm.
but you don't make it your rule book for life. Like, you have to discern that. And then also what I do is just getting better. It's a muscle. Like,
Mm.
right now, I said to myself, I was recently in a season, or just a few days ago, I'm like, should I be an influencer over 40? And
Hmm.
that feels good in my gut, right? A little bit. Or I was like, should I do this? Should I do that? No, I don't want to do the work that I need to do to grow my business. See, like, you have to discern where the distractions are. So, like,
Mhm.
that's it too. Sitting in it and really, like, asking yourself those hard questions, like, okay, where is this coming from? Is this like immediate wanting to feel good? What am I avoiding? So, like, all of those things. I think the more spiritually and emotionally intelligent you get by doing whatever you need to do it, there's so many ways to do it in the world. Like, there's no wrong answer. Go on your own spiritual, emotionally intelligent journey, and then I think you'll be able to sit with discomfort.
Mhm. Mhm. I love how you say that because it really is different for every person, right? Like they say meditate, right? They say go outside and ground yourself and all those things, but that may not work for you at all, right? Like it may be reading, it may be working out. A lot of people say like the gym, going to the gym and working their body out feels like therapy, right? So it
Right.
really is different for each person, and you really have to find out what works for you. But you only find those things out by trying different things, right? So
Right.
a quote that I got from you that I always say, I use it in life all the time: lean into your curiosity, right? Lean into the different things that you're curious about. I was just talking to my mom about this, about like her journey. We did an episode too.
Oh
And
my
she was,
gosh, I love that.
yes, she was saying how like where she is now, like her journey has brought her a lot of different places, right? She was an art teacher. She went, she's a librarian. She
I
does,
didn't know she was an art teacher.
she started off as an art teacher. Most people don't know that. It's
I
so
didn't know
funny.
that.
She was an art teacher for about 17 years before she was a librarian. Most people know her as like the librarian, right? And
Yeah,
especially cuz she's so really like really into books. She had
yeah.
a like her retirement party, it was book themed. So like
Uh-huh.
it was like mystery, what table do you sit at? You sit at the mystery novel table, right?
Oh,
You
that's
sit at the different, so it was, she's just like, that's her thing,
yeah,
right? So you just, you follow the journey, you lean into different things that you're curious about, and you never know like where it's going to take you. You don't know
yeah.
what you're going to be into. So and I use the analogy of like onions. I love onions on my food, and I never
Me
liked
too.
onions before.
Jasmine, no, give me some
Okay.
sauce and onions on
Okay, like everything,
everything.
all my
Every,
Mexican food. Anytime there's like a
every,
burger or anything, girl, give me some
eggs.
onions.
I love
Eggs,
that.
yes, like all of that.
Oh,
Okay, and I
yes.
never liked onions at all. I never like. I don't even like the like. I didn't even like the smell. Like nothing.
Oh, wow.
And one day I was in a burger joint and they was mixing onions into their burgers, and I was just like, okay. And from then on, I am gone. Like, give me
Welcome, because
some
I love
onions,
them. I
okay?
love
But it's just
them.
like you never know. So try different things, right?
Right. Or like you gave the onion analogy. There's one I like too with an onion. Peel back the layers of your onion.
Mm,
We think that we're only who we are at the surface, but there's so many layers to us. Like keep peeling away.
absolutely.
And that's what I'm just trying to do in this age of my life. Just keep discovering who I am and just having fun exploring it.
The having fun exploring it, that part, right? Because I think when we think about, when you said pull back the layers, I automatically thought about like trauma response. Like we think about that in like response to traumatic events that we need to dive deeper into, right? But we can do that having fun as well, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't always
right,
have to be a like serious traumatic thing that we're diving into, right? It could be
right,
like, I love the color pink. I wonder why, right? Just kind of peeling
right.
back the layers on that, looking at different colors that I like, looking at different color palettes, right? Textures,
Right.
different things like that.
Or like, oh my gosh, I like that artwork. Oh, what if I like painted more? Like, I don't know, just
Mm.
following it. And I do
Yeah.
think that it's a part of like healing too. Like I'm in therapy. I love therapy. I think that peeling back the layer is also getting someone that you trust that is a mental health professional to help you through those wounds because
Mhm.
they block us. They can create a lot of like resentment and calluses to life that won't allow us to even like embrace who we really are.
Absolutely. So true. So true.
Hey y'all, Pink Lady here. I'm a podcast producer, director, coach, and host. And I want to tell you all about my production company, Pink Lady Productions. We collaborate with creatives like you who are driven to share your message by launching your podcast from A to Z and coaching you through the process. To learn more about our services, check out our website at pinkladyprod.com. That's PINKLADYPROD.com.
So your company, True Speaks 365. I definitely want to hear about like the formation of the company. You got to the point where you knew you wanted to be a speaker. How did that translate into building True Speaks 365? And then talk in the through the lens of like what entrepreneurship means in that freedom aspect of it.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I'm on an IVF journey with my husband, and there were a couple of engagements where I was like, had to cancel because you can't, well, depending on your clinic, you can't really tell when the implantation or the retrieval is going to be.
Mm, okay.
So that's a factor. I'm being honest. And then I'm 44. Traveling at 44 is much different than 24 or 34. I like being home. I like being able to make my own schedule. I don't want to be like stressed out anymore. Like when I was
Mm-hmm.
working, I'm being honest with you, as I age. And that is a level of freedom. And it's interesting because my values in general have changed since you knew me, Jasmine, and now around entrepreneurship. Before, when I was like in the dance boss mode, there was a lot of like, oh, I have to be successful. this idea of success that is not true to me. Oh, I have to make this much money without that much money necessarily being tied to like what I need, but this number that I think that I have to have because in that time it was a lot of people flexing their numbers on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't think of rest. I thought of all busy. Now in my life, like I want to be able to work when I want to, not because I have to, but I still, and I want to build a company that allows me to do that. So that's a lot of that's the recipe for why True Speaks 365 was built. I'm transitioning right now from Erin Pompa being the front face to True Speaks 365, which is an awkward transition for me. And I'm figuring out as I go, but that's what I want. I want a roster of like 5 speakers. I have one right now that I train very well that go out and they speak, and then people hire me and I get to choose if I want to go. I don't go because I have to.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm also going to go back to school to be an LPC, which is a counselor, and I want to have a part-time private practice. So I'm just thinking about like how I want to live my life, and that's what I want to build my business around, not build it around what I think it's supposed to be, but what is in alignment with my values.
Yeah, I like how it's like the image of success, right? Like what success
Yeah,
looks like, right?
exactly.
But nobody can dictate what success looks like for us. We have to figure that out for ourselves, right? We have to figure out what that number is, what that comfort level is.
Right.
And how did you figure that out? Like, did you just kind of I know you do a lot of like I tried it and I did not like that, so I moved on to the
Yeah.
next, right? Can you talk more
Yeah.
about like what the feeling of not liking it actually feels like and like how because I know that had to be a mindset shift, right? Like I know it wasn't
Mhm.
just like I don't like this, I'm moving on to the next thing. It was like I said, a muscle, right? That you had to build, right? So like
Yeah.
what did that really look like?
Well, it was hard. It was a lot of my husband saying, "Yo, you're not present.
Mm,
You're not here," because I was always thinking about my work or doing my work. And it's like, oh, okay, I got to show up equally in this marriage, or you know what I mean, not equally because everybody's weight is different. But
yeah.
oh, I have to show up. And then it started making me think about like what I value, and that shifted it. But I also remember looking up when I had dance class and I had made like a good number that month. I don't know what it was. And I'm like, oh, I have arrived. And I looked up and I was not happy.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good.
mhm.
And so, what helped me get to where I am now? I think a lot not going right. Like me and my husband hitting roadblocks and not seeing eye to eye on what I thought I needed to be successful. I think my parents aging just puts things in perspective. I think me aging just puts things in perspective, and that spiritual work that I continue to do. I'll tell you right now, that is the root to all of my awakenings, I guess. Just the amount of effort I'm putting into understand just life on a spiritual and emotional basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um I think it you haven't said it but it comes up a lot in how you speak just the importance of being honest with yourself first, right? And then with the people in your circle, right? The people you're in relationship with, your children, your parents, whatever that looks like for you. Really being honest and having those honest conversations. And shout out to your husband because people don't everybody doesn't do that, right? That's a lot of the times why a lot of marriages maybe end in divorce or even relationships that are not
Marriage
marriages,
was
right?
part
Like
of
they
it.
end, right? Because people don't have those conversations with each other. People are a lot of
Yeah,
the times afraid to have those conversations. Maybe they're afraid to be lonely, whatever the reason is, but like we don't want to have those icky conversations, right?
no,
And because they don't feel good, and we're just trying to like especially when we have all these things going on. We're running the business, we're in school, wherever. When we come home, we
right,
just want to rest. We just want peace. We don't want to have those icky conversations. And that's
right,
coming up a lot in my relationship, right? I didn't know that. No, we're going to have these conversations almost every day. And that's
oh, you're
okay, right? And
right,
that's right now, right? It's not going to be forever. We're not always going to be like this. But right now, where we are in our relationship, now we're going to have these icky conversations every day because we're still learning each other, right? We're
right.
still figuring out what works for us, and a lot is changing for us. He got a new job, like I said, we were talking a little bit before we hit record. My partner just he's not a new job. He's been in it for a year and some change now, but he's traveling for work now. So that's a different stressor on our
Yeah,
relationship, right? Because he's just not here all the time.
I know.
So it's just, finding those things that work for us now when he's not home. We FaceTime more, we do other things. There are like different apps that they make. So but the point of that was just like, finding what works for you. And in order to find what works for you, you have to have those icky conversations. It's okay.
Yeah, and they are okay. And it's like, again, the standard of like what people say a good marriage is or
Mm.
what works, or like, because it's just gonna throw it all away. And one thing I love about my husband is like we working on this marriage, like right. But it's
Yes.
not always easy, and I've had to like unlearn so much. Like I and I've had to get honest with myself. Like, I like being home. I like having a cleaning schedule for my house. I like being here and done at 5 o'clock. And I used to want to be so independent. And I thought that I was going to lose a part of myself if I surrendered to those things. But
Mm.
it's not true. I'm just gaining a different part of myself. So,
Yes, yes, yes. Let's connect that to how, when you were looking at dance and kind of looking at moving away from dance, you felt maybe like, I am dance. Like, this is dance
yeah,
is me. Like, what do I do outside of dance? Right. Like, you're
yeah,
kind of losing a part of your identity. Right. And
yeah,
then kind of, like you said, gaining more. Right. But during that losing part of the identity, it's like, what the fuck do I do?
yeah,
So
yeah.
talk more about that and how you made that mindset shift to like, no, I am so much more than dance.
It's hard, especially doing something your whole life. Like I had been dancing since I was 4. I
Mm.
mean, come on, anything that you do for so long, and then I taught. Like I never saw a life without me dancing. But I didn't. Then it became the point when I didn't want to anymore, and then I felt guilty because I didn't want to anymore, and then I wondered who I was because I didn't want to anymore. Now I'm fine. Like sometimes I miss it and I'll dance around, but like I don't want to do that anymore. Um, and it was just, again, sitting in that discomfort, talking to
Yep.
people about it. You want to know something that's interesting? Like, no matter of the fact that I know that everybody goes through basically everything, like I'm not unique in what I'm thinking. I could feel unique. I could feel alone. I could say, I'm the only one who ever felt this way. I'm the only one going through this. And that could keep me stuck.
Mm.
So what I had to do is I had to reach out to people that I trust or that I felt called to and understand, oh yeah, I felt that way. Oh yeah, I feel this way. And kind of normalize the feelings to help me deal with the feelings. But like there's this saying that I love, hold out for the miracle. Dance was great. I could not exist without that being a foundation in my life. But who I am now is I love it. So I love it. So you have to give yourself a chance to evolve. It's hard, but you have to give yourself a chance if you want to live a good life.
Absolutely. I love that you said that because I'm the same way too. Like, I was just talking to my friend about like the different kind of versions of myself that I've stepped into. Like
Mm,
every time I did something new or like dated a new person or moved to a different place, I stepped into a different version of myself. And all of those versions allowed me to become this version. And I love myself now. I love what I'm
I love
doing. I love the life that I'm building. And that's not to say that like every day is easy. No, it's not. I just said like I gotta have hard conversations with my partner almost every day, right? Like it's not easy, but I love it and it feels really, really good. It feels like this is what I'm meant to be doing. Absolutely. I feel like I'm using my gifts. I enjoy it, right? I feel like I'm having an impact on the world. So
right.
yeah,
I love
right. It just
that.
feels really
No,
good.
I'm so proud of you. I love that. I can
Thank you.
see it in your smile.
Thank
You know,
you.
and it's not to say that like some. Do I always feel like working? Absolutely
No.
not. But it's not. But I like my work. Like it's never. It's like I like it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm proud of it. It feels good. You
Absolutely.
know. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Like, yeah, no, I don't always feel like working. No. There are days where I could work for 20 hours. I sure could.
yeah,
And my partner's like, "All right, it's time's up." Like,
yeah.
but
You're like
hello,
ah,
okay, like, all right, I'm closing up, right? But then there are
yeah,
days where like, no, I don't want to do anything. And that to me is the best part of what I do being an entrepreneur is like when I have those days, I cannot do anything. As long as I'm
Right.
ahead, like I do have deadlines, I do have clients I
Right.
got to satisfy, right? But
But you can move things. You
absolutely.
can
And I'm organized enough where I'm usually ahead. So like if I want to be like today, I'm not doing anything at all. I'm still in a
yeah,
good place and I can do that. And I don't have
I
a
love
person to answer to, a boss that like, Jasmine, what you doing? It's just
right. It's
yeah.
so nice. It is. And like I also had to let the idea of working, I used to give myself a trophy. Well, because dance, first of all, you teach all day because I worked at a performing arts high school and then rehearsals at night. And then most teachers have a side hustle or whatever thing going on. So I thought that I got a trophy if I worked a lot of
Mm,
hours. But like what I learned is like you don't need 8 hours workday to get your job done.
okay.
That's just like what society places on people, but you don't. So now my workdays be like 4 or 5 hours. And I'm just like, okay, you know?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think you bring up something too. It's like the guilt. I definitely had to get over the guilt of like, oh, I'm not working 40 hours. Like,
right,
oh, that feels a little icky at first, right? Because
right,
these are these things that we are brainwashed to believe that we have to be
right,
busy,
right,
right? Like busy is a form of success, right? Booked and busy,
right,
right? It's still a thing, right? But no, I've changed my idea of what success looks like. And that is part of what success looks like for me, to be able to just take a day off, right? Like that's
yeah,
how I know I'm building the business and I'm doing what I need to do. I'm doing those things, right? Because
right,
okay, I can take a day off. Right? That's what it looks like for
exactly.
me. Okay, so I definitely want to talk about, you said entrepreneurship also demands a deep commitment to personal growth. And we have been talking about personal growth a lot in this conversation. Um, but can you just talk, because this is something I definitely I didn't know. I thought these people are just
Yeah,
out here making money, and everybody is being honest and everybody is in integrity, and that is not the truth at all. It
no,
couldn't be further from the truth a lot of the time,
right,
right? So I definitely want to hear, because you brought up being in integrity a lot during this conversation.
yeah,
Talk about like what that means to you in through the lens of like the deep commitment to personal
yeah.
growth.
Well, when I was in dance boss, I didn't always feel in like integrity. I wasn't a straight up liar or anything. I just felt like something just felt off. Like, and yeah, you could I wasn't doing anything illegal. I wasn't doing anything per se wrong, but
Yeah.
it just didn't sit right with me. And I think a lot of people do things that just don't sit right and keep doing it. And I just don't have the luxury to do that. Like I want to lay my head on the pillow at night and think that I showed up in a good way and treated others good. Do I do it
Yeah.
perfectly? Absolutely not. But we can apologize and make it better. So yes, I always have to like do personal development. Like, okay, I use this in my keynote with the kids. Think about Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
Where was his personal development and growth? Like, I don't, and I understand that he might have had family trauma and whatever, but I'm just saying, like, where was his responsibility to take care of himself and his emotions and his emotional intelligence and spirituality? Because like you can have all the money in the world and arrive somewhere and not be anybody you like or be somebody that has hurt other people. There are plenty
Mm.
of billionaires out there who hate their lives.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be that. I'd rather not be a billionaire and do well for myself and my family and be happy with who I am than have the means beyond my wildest dreams and be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
That's why personal development is so important. Like I don't know. I That's just important to me. That's my top value, to make sure that I am in alignment with myself and my spirituality and everything, and I feel like a good human. And everything that comes beyond that is just an added bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think about that all the time. I feel like the only reason you want to hoard resources and like and be super greedy and gatekeep and keep these things away from
Mhm.
everybody else, you have to be miserable, right? Like you gotta be miserable. There's no way that you're happy and loving your life and like just living your best life, as they say, right?
Yeah.
And wanting to be greedy and keeping everything to
Yeah.
yourself. It
And people
can't.
are scared,
Mm.
and it's the way they were taught,
Yeah.
and it's them thinking that the money and the things is going to make them
Keeping up with
happy.
the Joneses.
All of that. And I think those of us that are awake and know that there's more to it than that, we're very lucky.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take that for granted.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get into advice. What
Oh my God.
advice do you have for entrepreneurs? Dun dun
Oh my
dun.
gosh. Like go on a spiritual journey,
Mm,
whatever that means for you. I'm not saying like you have to be any kind of religion, nothing. No, I'm not saying that. Just go on a spiritual journey. That's it. Like the more you go on that, the more you'll know yourself as a person, the more you'll appreciate life, the more you'll be able to see business from, I guess, like a shoulders down lens. Before, when I had
mm,
business, I was like tight. I was like, oh my God,
mm-hmm.
this has to work. This is my value. This is everything. Like, no, it's not. It's not that serious. Like, it's really not. So I think that, and then my other advice is like, if you want to do something, start. Don't let money or anything get in your way. Open Google, Chat GPT, and get to work. And if you could work 1 hour a day, work 1 hour a day. Do whatever you have to do. But if you feel a call on your heart to do something, go after it. And it might not lead to the thing that you wanted. I thought that I wanted dance boss, right? But it led me here to speaking. And maybe it's going to lead me to being a therapist. Who knows? But if I didn't follow those nudges, I wouldn't be able to know where I was ending up. So I say that to say, don't get mad if your plan changes. It's not about if the plan changes. It's like, are you just doing the work to help the plan along? Like, do the work.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
I love that. I love that. I want to hear a little bit more about being in the, like, sitting in the stillness, sitting in the discomfort, those times right before you were about to pivot. If we could just go back to like one or a few of those times where you're about to make the decision to, all right, we're moving on to the next thing, before you had the conversation with your partner, because I know that was usually probably like the first step, like having that conversation, right? Before you did that, what was going on in your head? I know if there was any like shame or guilt or anything that you had to get over,
Oh,
any mindset shifts that you had to go through. I want to hear all about that and how you did it, because
you're good. It's
because
hard
I
to recall.
know that like there are people, I was one of them. I was definitely one of the people who felt stuck. I'm like, I don't, that was one of the reasons I reached out to you, Erin. That was the biggest reason, because I was stuck. I felt stuck in this job and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And it's funny that
Yeah.
you brought up Facebook, that you were looking at something on Facebook, because you did a live on Facebook and you were talking about like stepping into what you're curious about, leaning into your curiosity, doing the next thing, pivoting thing, all of that. And I felt so inspired. And I'm like, Erin, I don't know what you got, but we gotta talk. Like
Oh
I
my God.
needed to talk to you. And look
Yeah.
what came from it. But
Yeah.
yeah, please
But you
just
follow that call. I mean, I will try to recall, Jasmine. I'm a dissociator. I'm working on in therapy. I could shut something out. I'm like, this is done.
okay.
So let me recall. I know the transition between Rosa Parks and like Dance Boss, when I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I felt so empty. I felt so
Mm,
isolated. I felt so scared. My parents are both educators. You don't go out and start a business. You were an educator. You're a good educator, Erin. You go be a principal. Like, these things were not heard of, and letting them down. My parents did. We grew up in an inner city. So like, my parents are both educated and they provided a life for me beyond my wildest dreams. They gave me so many things, and to even disappoint them would was so hard.
mm,
But I I don't know. I just felt empty. And I was broke and I was mismanaging money. So I didn't have this nest egg to fall back on. I had a pension, all of these things. I had a pension loan. I'm like, you can't leave with a pension loan. You could though, by the way. But all these things. So I felt just terrified. But I'm the type of person who does it anyway. And I think that's I just think that's a characteristic of who I
yeah.
am, because that's like how I always move. And then when I was transitioning, leaving my job, I felt excited. But then when I was transitioning from dance boss to speaking, I felt defeated and empty, but I really
Mm,
didn't like who I was with that business.
mm,
Like, I didn't like it. So that's really it, Jasmine. I mean, if I had all of those feelings, there's so much fear and everything, but I did it anyway.
mm.
I just was like, okay, like it got to get better than what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
And how do I make it better? I have to do something.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of wrong things. So,
Yeah, I think because that I already knew once speaking to you from knowing, the small bit of your journey that I
mhm,
do know. I already knew that I wanted this conversation to really be focused around like the pivot, you are not stuck. You don't have to feel stuck. You don't have to be stuck.
mhm,
Do it anyway. I love that you said, right? Like, yeah, there's fear, there's shame, there's guilt, there's I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. Right? But do it anyway.
let me give you an example with this LPC. I have had a nudge,
Mm.
like it's beyond like a month. It's been like I've always had a tapping since I got into speaking. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And then I talked to someone again, why you should speak to people who you value. She's like, you could change. Like, if I don't like it, I don't have to finish the program. Like,
Yes.
why do we have to like everything? Like, all I have to do is apply. I'm responsible. If I get accepted, I can take the 2 classes that we have to take, and then I'll get them back. That's it. Like, it's not that serious.
Yeah. I love that you gave that example because it's also like take one step at a time. Right?
Yeah.
Like we worry about the end result and we ain't even take the first step yet.
Right.
So take one step at a time, do that first step, and then if you get past it, then we'll worry about it, right? So like
Right.
cross that bridge when you get there, take that one step at a time, but just do it. Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then stop doing it.
Then
like,
on
you
to
know what
the
I mean?
next thing,
Right, but we
really.
as a society think, oh my God, I failed, I did this, I did that.
Yes.
First of all, you ain't gotta tell nobody. You don't gotta be on social media telling nobody. Like,
That part.
so who's gonna know you failed? Your husband, you, and it's not a failure anyway.
Absolutely. Love that. Because, right, again, you don't got to share everything on social media.
Nope. No.
Okay.
Nope. I mean, everything ain't gotta be epic, like broadcast of like
No.
something.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the culture that we're in right now.
Yeah.
But gosh, it does not have to be like that.
It takes the pressure off when you keep it close to your chest. My husband taught me that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.